Okay, there it goes. Now it's going. Hello, students, and welcome back. So, for this assignment, Mini Project 2, we're going to be using already the assignment that we made in Mini Project 1. So, let's start talking about the ribbon up here. On the home menu, there's this one thing called View. And if I click it, you'll see there's Datasheet View, Pivot Chart, Pivot Table, Design, all that sort of fun stuff. Basically, in Access, what you can do is you can go behind the scenes. So this is what people would see if they were to open this up on a web page or something. They would see this, they would interact with this. But if I click this and I just go into the design view, I am now seeing behind the scenes, and I can click back and forth between the two views as many different times as I want. It's the same information being seen in two different ways. So for example, my ID is an auto number. My first name is a text. It's telling me what I made and what it is. And you'll notice at the bottom, you have stuff that you can change about it. So for example, on the first name, I can change something called a field size because it's a text. And I can change it like that. However, on something like, say, currency, I don't have a field size. I just have format. And what type of format would I want? Oh, look, I got dollars, I've got euros, I've got scientific equation. I've got different stuff I can do with it. Same with number. Do I want a long integer? Maybe I want a single or double, or maybe I want a decimal. You can do stuff like change the text alignment. Do you want it to be located on the left, the center, the right, or do you want it evenly distributed? Do you have a default value? So if they type nothing, do you want to be able to put something in instead and tell them what to put in? So for example, if I type a 0 here, if there's nothing that's up, it's going to also ask me to save whenever I start touching anything that I want to change. So would you like to save? Yes. So if you notice, I don't know, let me just say middle initial. Let me just get rid of some of these middle initials here. Click, click, click. There we go, and we'll see if it lets me do anything. So view. So if I go to middle initial and I say my default value is going to say something like, enter, or actually let me just have it say type here. I'll just have it say type here. So now when I go back to the view and says save, save, you'll notice I now have something that says type here for that. That's the default value. Now, it won't do anything to the ones that you've already typed in and then deleted, but for stuff that you have never typed at all, it will add it. So now, of course, if I delete that, in theory, will that undo itself? Yes, it did. It's gone. The default value is gone now. So, what we're going to do is we're going to change stuff about the data we made so that we can interact with it. For example, if you notice in my middle initial, if I only want an initial, I can type a heck of a lot more than an initial. So I guess I have to go in to my middle initial, which is a text right here, so I have middle initial highlighted, and look, the field size is 255. What that means is I have 255 characters I can type. I can type 255 buttons on the keyboard before it will stop me from doing anything. Let's just change that to 1. So now see how I have my middle initial highlighted, so I know I'm on that. I've changed my field size to 1. And yes, it's going to ask me to save. Yes, I'll save. And it's going to even give me a warning. Hey, by the way, you're changing the field size to be shorter. If data is lost, validation rules may be violated as a result. Would you like to continue? Yes, I will. So now, basically it's warning me, hey, if I had anything more than 2 syllables here, it's not letting me. I'm typing away, and it won't let me, because I specifically stopped myself after 1 syllable. Sorry, after 1 character. So let's do the same thing, but this time let's, go on to the student ID. Why not? We'll make the student ID 6. Why not? Well, so right now the student ID is a, field size of 255, I can change it to 6. But what would happen if, say, I had it as a number instead? Okay, well, I can't change a field size in that. So if by any chance you made your student ID number a number, you're going to have to switch it to text. And that's the only way to get to the field size and change it that way. Because, numbers can have as many decimal points or as many points as they need. It's not necessarily something that you can stop it at, 2 digits. So if I go view, switch it now, view, yes, yes. So now if you'll notice, I have student ID of 6, and then if I try to type anything else in, it's not going to let me. I have stopped myself from doing that. Now there's more that I'm going to want to do with the student ID, and it's going to be this little key right here. See this button that says primary key? That primary key determines what's the primary field. So basically, what is the thing that's guaranteeing that everything you do is unique? Remember how I mentioned that right now this is the only 1, the only 2, the only 3, the only 4, the only 5? It will never repeat numbers. So if you're looking at something and you're going, what is there a situation, what can I have that is guaranteed to be different? So, for example, there can easily be 2 people named David. There can be 2 people with A in their middle name. They can be the 2 people with the last name Wayne, so on and so forth. You can have 2 people that are present. You can have 2 people that live at the same address. But there is no one that has your student ID, right? You're the only student 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. They don't have a second one. So what I can do is I can go in and I can instead make my student ID, I can click that primary key button, and now the key goes from the ID to my student ID. Now this thing is what's guaranteeing that everything's different. So if I go back to view, save table, yes. Now it doesn't matter. I can have another 2 in here. Or, oh, it's not going to let me because it's still currently an auto number. Let me just change that to text. Okay, view, save changes. Now I can have a 2 here and a 2 here. It's not going to matter. I can do whatever I want with that. But my student ID, there's only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So if I have another 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and try to click away, the changes you're requesting were not successful because they would create duplicate values. It will not let me duplicate values in whatever is the primary key. There is only one primary key per table, but it is what guarantees that everything is unique. So I'll just change that to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, or whatever, and there we go. Now it's okay with that because it's not a duplicate. This is what guarantees you're not putting in duplicate information, whatever it is. And of course, because I guess it's so important, maybe we should do something like, first off, let's just get rid of this. I can right-click and delete that row. And now the ID is completely gone from this thing. It's gone. So whatever I change up here will happen in the design view, and whatever I change in design view will happen in the table view. But you know what? I'm going to just move you up here. There we go. So let's just, save you, view you. Oh, and look, student ID is now in the front as well because I moved it back here. So that's all type of stuff that you could do in this design view. You're changing how people interact with it. You can go and say, make something required. They have to enter their student ID, or they have to enter their middle initial, which, considering some people don't have middle initials, would not be a smart decision. Or they have to enter their birthday. You can do that sort of stuff. You can make it required. You can make certain things, formatted different ways. So, for example, this one last thing I'm going to do with birthday, format right now on birthday is currently this sort of very generic 6/19/2007. why don't I just switch it to a long date? And now, if I go back to View, Save, yes, because it's going to ask me to save. Now, once again, if you ever get any of these little hashtags, all that means is you have too much information to be seen. So just stretch it out. Stretch it out. And now you'll notice, oh look, now it's giving me proper birthdays with day, month, and year and whatnot. Or you know what, maybe I want to switch that from birthday, instead of it being a long text, let me just have it be a medium date. There we go. So now it's going to ask me to save again, save. Oh, and look, now it's just saying 12th November, so on and so forth. So that's what it is. Let me just make sure I checked everything here. Just change student ID to short text, reduce field size to 6, add auto number, moved ID, read it so that it changes differently, change the minimum ID to field size to that for middle initial, and make sure your student ID is the primary key. I have done all of that. So once you have all this done, remember to save it. And if you want to, you can even, if you want to save it as something else, you can always rename it. But of course, you can't rename it while it's currently open. So if I want to rename it, I can close this out and then right-click here and then go to rename. And now instead of being Mini Project 1, it is now Mini Project 2. And of course, it's right there. So once again, open it up, all the same information is still there. It's just now it's Mini Project 2. And you'll see it's right there. Yay, yay, all sorts of fun stuff. If you want to, you can even right-click and, duplicate it. Once I find where copy, and then, right-click and paste. And, copy of this or whatever. Sure, okay, cool. Now I have a copy. I have two things here, this one and this one. So maybe if you want to keep your Mini Project 1 as is, and then you just want to keep Mini Project 2 as its own separate table, you can do that as well. So once again, of course, when everything's saved and whatnot, yeah, I don't want to worry about that. Oh, okay, fine. I guess you are wanting me to do that. Helps when I read the question correctly. So once again, close everything out, find your file, and, so file, documents, where'd it go? Oh, yeah, there it is. And, oh, look, did you notice the file size got way smaller because we changed all that little stuff? We made sure so that there, instead of having 255 characters, it was only one character, or only 6 characters. And we went from, examples of that much to that much. So, obviously, it got smaller as time went by. So also, you're decreasing your file size. So if by any chance you wind up accidentally, forgetting something. Oh, okay, that's actually a completely different file, actually, now that I realize it because of the date. But same point goes to anything like this. Change some file sizes around, change some field sizes, and you might get a smaller file size. So if you're having too big of a file, try doing some of that as well, and maybe it'll go through the second time as a smaller file. But once again, find your file, submit it through Moodle, and you have a great day then. See you on Thursday.